Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Conor here, All Leeds TV, and Joe Wainman, and we are back with something a little bit different. Me and Joe have been wanting to try this for a couple of weeks, and I think this is going to be sort of a lead up to the podcast that we're looking into doing. It's just going to be a little bit of a thing where we're going to be able to connect up and do our own thing before we get into the studio. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good. I feel a bit out of sorts without opening my video with the Now Then people, so I'll have to just get that in there, otherwise I'll be getting OCD. Now Then people. Yeah, mate, I'm doing really good. I'm really positive at the minute, as you'd expect. I think we've had some good fixtures of late, some good results. Sorry, the last two have really given us sort of a real positive vibe, and it seems that we have a little bit of a different mindset. I know you've changed a little bit. I think we know what we have. Nothing can change that. You know, January's been and gone, and all we have now is 13 cup finals between us and the Premier League, and we all have to get on that train. Yeah, definitely.
I think definitely, Joe. I think big difference in it. It's the main man in midfield. I think weirdly, has that ban done him? Has it done him good?
Yeah, no, it's mad. A lot of people have been saying that, haven't they? You know, like how maybe that rest for the time it has, the 3 games has given him a new boost. Maybe, you know, I was listening to Phil Hay this morning, and he was saying maybe seeing it from an outsider's perspective, looking in. You know, maybe that's had a positive impact on him as well. You know, I think it's just, for me, it looks like or feels like it's like reset. I said before, the points difference, everyone's caught up to us. It is what it is, and now it's like reset button. We go again. You know what I mean? And we had 15 cup finals at the time. We go get a positive result at Brentford, and then the mood's really been lifted. But you are right, mate. I mean, he's been absolutely unreal since he's come back, like crazy. Crazy,
yeah,
man.
I think it just shows that he is just levels above, and I think I always sort of knew he was, but I think since he's come back, I'm a little bit like, wow. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, that Brentford game, obviously everyone knows I was waxing lyrical about Brentford, but it just shows how amazing he was and how much of a difference. And also, we were talking about off air, weren't we? How he makes such a difference to the likes of Cooper, the likes of he makes Click better as well. He just makes the team better.
Yeah. He's everyone's taking it up a notch. Like, look at Luke Ayling, for example. Look at that Brentford game, and he's up against one of the best players in the division in Ben Rama. All right, he's done a job on him. Let's be honest, he's done a job on him. But what impressed me the most is the fact that not only did he do a job on him, it wasn't a man marking, I'm going to stick by you for the full 90 minutes. Luke Ayling was still bombing on. And the reason he's able to do that is because you know in your mind you have the protection of Calvin, who's just going to fill in wherever. Do you know what I mean? He seems to know where he needs to be at all times. And if someone like Luke bumps forward or Stewie Dallas or whoever it may be, he's always there to cover. I mean, they had no midfield, did they, at Brentford? I mean, it was just like his area, and that's it. You know, you don't come into my area. It was mad, but
no, mate, you're right, and it is one of those where, do you know, I was lifting Brentford up, but the fact that now, as you know, as people are coming on the channel and they're saying that, you know, you lifted them up too high, that's a massive well done to our lads. Because let's be right, mate. Me and you've spoken about it as well. They're a very good team, and the fact that we bossed them just shows how much, like how incredible Leeds were that night. And arguably for me, that was a better result than the Bristol game. And I know that sounds mad, but like going down there and doing that to them, like I think, and we should have won. We should have won 3 or 4-1 for me.
Yeah. I think again, I'll come back to it. I said before, for me, it wasn't. I know this might sound a bit daft, but it wasn't even about the result at the time. We needed a performance, and we got that. Do you know what I mean? And I do have to agree with you. I mean, it was. It really did lift everyone, because I think no one expected anything. And that was the thing, is that we went, and And I do think Thomas Frank's comments were short-sighted and give the lads even a bigger lift. They'll probably say no, that had no impact, but I think it did, and and it really gave us a lift after seeing that. And then we play Bristol City. I said before, I know everyone's different, but Bristol City are that team for me that I never worry about. I mean, our history shows that we're always better than them. Results-wise, yeah, they go on good runs, but then they go on barren runs. I did fully expect us to beat Bristol City. But Reading's up next, mate. Reading is up next. I mean, what are your thoughts for that? I mean, I've done my own work, as I like to do. So we'll have a little run through with that, and then I guess we can take some people's comments, questions on Reading as well. But look, the interesting thing for me, and I've checked their fixtures. I mean, around Christmas time, Reading went on a 4-game winning run. I mean, they beat Derby, QPR, they won away at Preston, they won away at Fulham. So they do have it in them to get positive results. To win away at Preston and Fulham, I mean, we haven't won there, we didn't win there this season, right?
On Wednesday.
And then, yeah, on Wednesday. Well, that's what I'm saying. Since the turn of the year, though, it's sort of fallen off a cliff a little bit, and they've only won 1 in the last 8. But most recently, that was against Wednesday away. I think normally I would look at them and say, look, 1 win in the last 8, not really much going for them. But I look at that form over Christmas and look that they do have it in them to get positive results. And of course, with the likes of Swift, Jaria, Mate, Puskas, Yiadom, they've got some very good players. I mean, John Swift's arguably one of the best, playmaker type players in the Championship for me. I don't know where you stand on that.
Yeah, mate. I mean, I think we go up to the Premier League. I think he'll be one of our targets. I really do.
Yeah.
I think I would love Swift. I think he's a very, very good player. And mate, let's be right, Joe. I mean, last time we played Reading, mate, we got a fantastic counter-attacking goal. But I tell you what, mate, they were right in it. They were right in it. They had a couple of really good strikes on goal. I think Kiko made a couple of good saves. I think Swift just hit it past the post. I watched the extended highlights yesterday, mate. And obviously we'll be in our own backyard now. Now so it'll be different, touch wood. But like we said, mate, you look at the likes of Mate, you look at the likes of you look at the likes of John Swift as well. Rinamota, who apparently Bielsa's a big fan of. They've got, and I do quite like the man in charge. He's quite straight-laced and Bowen, and I think on our day, Leeds United play the Leeds United way. We'll get the win, but I do think, Joe, I think it's going to be a tougher task than Bristol, mate.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I do think we should win the game, but I mean, even when you look at the results, Forest 1 apiece. You've got 1-0 loss to Bristol City, draw with Cardiff, draw with Hull, 2-1 loss to West Brom. They're never getting blown away. Never getting blown away. So it is going to be a tight game. I think the big interesting thing for me is going to be the battle between Phillips and Ajaria. I was listening. I was listening to something the other day, and someone actually mentioned and said how Calvin had actually came out and said that Ajaria is a good player. So the fact that Calvin's mentioning him means obviously he enjoyed that battle himself, I guess, when we won the game last time out, and that'll be something to look forward to, the battle between them two in the middle of the park. Cause, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he did do him a few times, in that first fixture, because he's a big lad as well, isn't he? I think he was on Liverpool's books. Yeah,
he was, mate. And I think Calvin's toughest, it's been quite unusual, really, because you think, the big boys in, likes of like maybe Pereira or someone like that is going to be his biggest task. But the two for me that have been his biggest tasks have been Ajaria and Eze. I think they've both been very, very good. And Calvin's, put it this way, Joe, I think, he's going to have much more of a task instead of, obviously Bristol played 4-4-2. So Wainman was sort of dropping a bit deep and Calvin was able to sweep that up quite nicely. But I tell you what, mate, these are classic centre attacking midfielders, those two boys. And, Calvin's going to have a really, really good game to stop. And let's be right, Joe, it's not just up to Calvin, with the likes of John Swift, if they are coming forward, that's where Click's going to have to chip in. Do you know what I mean? And mate, it's going to be a really interesting battle.
It is, mate. It is. I know. I think it's Michael Baxter's just put in the comments there. If you want to flash that up, There is a lot of talk about injuries through the Reading team, and that is something that I wanted to touch on as well, because Mark Bowen this week in the press himself, I think it was in the YEP, and he's done some in obviously the Reading local press. He mentioned that they've got 7 or 8 players out injured, the likes of Lucas Shaw, Matt Maziak, Chris Gunter, Tom McKinstry, Jordan Abita, Lucas Boy. I think the kid Pele is out as well for this game.
Midfielder.
And he's actually come out and said he's going to have to make a decision on how much he works this Reading side, because they've actually got 5 games in 14 days because they're still involved in the FA Cup. So I think it's going to be quite interesting. Does he look at, I mean, I guess I'll get your thoughts on it and the guys in the comments, and of course, Michael's as well. Does Bowen look at this game and think, it's a tough task? They're going to work us so hard, as we've seen. Anyone who comes up against Leeds, 9 times out of 10 loses the next one. Is he going to look at it and think, right, we've got this many players out. After Leeds, we've got 5 games in 14 days. Does he play a weaker side in this game because he sees it as, well, it's highly likely? I don't know. I'm thinking, does he look at the game and go, we're going to struggle to get a result. We're still in the FA Cup. We've got some, more winnable fixtures coming up. Does he switch it up and think, you know what, maybe play a lesser side? Maybe I'm being wrong. Maybe I'm being naive. But the fact he's made these comments about the fact he has to switch it up and he's got so many games and he's got all these players injured, do you reckon that could be on his mind? I guess that's my question.
I mean, I think it's a really good point, mate. Do we know who Reading have got afterwards? Who's their immediate game afterwards? Do we know?
I can certainly have a look for you, mate. The joy of the internet.
But yeah, mate. I think if they've got a winnable home fixture afterwards, I mean, that's got to be playing in his mind. Let's be right. Reading are they still miles out of the relegation zone? No.
Yeah.
Is it still a very tight league towards the end? The middle and the bottom. Yeah. So he's got to have his eye on that. I mean, for me, you come to Leeds and you could get a result, and it could be, it could be a Wigan scenario, which, we're all touching wood and hoping not. But they've definitely got the capabilities, Joe. For me, they're a better team than Wigan. But I mean, they've got. I looked this morning, and they've got 8 players they reckon out. So I mean, that's nearly a full team, mate. Whether or not those lot would start in a team, I don't know, but. I think I would. I mean, I don't know if you would, but I probably would.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's mentioned it as well and come out and said this, is he managing expectations? Because let me just give you their fixtures. So they play us on Saturday, then they have 2 home fixtures against Wigan and Barnsley. So is he looking at them and thinking, right, they're the games where we need to pick up maximum points? They then play at home to Sheffield United in the FA Cup. Then they're away at Birmingham and at home to Stoke. So they've got 3 home fixtures there against teams that are down the bottom half of the division. And if they weren't to get positive results there, are they then going to get further dragged into a sort of relegation dogfight? I mean, looking at the table itself, they currently sat 15th. I think there is 9, 10, 11 points between them and Wigan, which is, it's quite a big gap. But arguably, they've then got obviously home fixtures against Wigan, Barnsley and Stoke that are all 21st, 22nd and 24th. So if they were to lose them games, could they get dragged in? And is that why he's managing expectations and saying, look, we've got 5 games in 14 days. This Leeds game, we've got 7 or 8 players out. Some key players in there with the likes of Zhao, etc., the kid Pele. I was reading on a Reading forum that Pele has been arguably the most consistent player for them of late. So it will be interesting to see how Matt Bowen looks at the fixture.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think so. I mean, it is one of those where, as Mal's just said in the comments there, I mean, it is like we sort of said before the Brentford game, mate. Did they go into it with a free hit? Do you know what I mean? Did they just think? And is that more dangerous, Joe? Because I tell you what, the players' mentality when we went down to Brentford might not have been, we'll go for a free hit. And we know it won't have been because they're never scared, as they said with Frank and all this sort of stuff. But are Reading going to sort of look at this and think, do you know what? Just go out there and just play. Just play. Play your stuff, no reservations. And is that maybe more dangerous for Leeds United?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, with Mark Bowen looking at the fixture in the way that it's come across to me, that's how I've taken it. Does he switch it up? Does he play a younger side possibly and say to them, look, shackles are off. Go show me that you need to be in this side on a more regular basis. Do you know what I mean? Reading fans might watch this and, you know, they're more in tune with their football club. But definitely, I think it is a sort of free hit kind of game for them, isn't it? When you're not really expecting much. And of course, everyone takes their performance levels up a notch. You know, I've got a running thing now. Whoever we play the week before, I'll go against them in my betting on the next week. Like I'll back Leeds, and whoever, you know, faces the team we played last time. I mean, the returns this weekend aren't that great because West Brom have got Reading. So West Brom have got Bristol City. So you'd imagine they'd win that anyway. So I've not got good odds this weekend because we're favourites and obviously West Brom are as well. But what are your thoughts then for the game? Where do you see us winning? Where will the result take us? You know, what score will we win the game? Hopefully, you'll go for.
Do you know what, Joe? I think it's going to be a bit narrow, mate. I think maybe a little bit like the. I don't know if you think this as well, but I think that it's going to be. I think it's going to be similar to Bristol. I think we'll have a lot of the ball. Yeah. I think we'll dominate the game, and I think we'll win the game. But I think 1-0, mate. I think it's going to be a 1-0, and I just hope we can take our chances, Joe. I'd love to see Costa. I'd love to see Harrison on the score sheet, maybe chipping in with maybe a goal or two, hopefully. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's because every time, mate, I seem to, you know, the Wigan game, I turned round and I thought, you know, we're going to pump them 3-0. You know, the Brentford result, I thought we were going to get pumped. So it's we're so unpredictable, aren't we?
I think the one thing that we are predictable at, mate, is the fact that we don't score many. I think, you know, you've said that yourself. It's actually, there's been under 2.5 goals scored in 7 of our last 8 championship games. Although the performances are mint, and we should have scored bloody over 3.5 in most of them games. The fact that we struggle to, I just think it's just how it's going to go now. I genuinely feel we might get the odd fixture where we might score 3, 4, but I just think it's.
So do you think it's going to be nervy then?
It all depends on how the first half pans out. I think, unfortunately, I wasn't at the game on Saturday because I was working. But from what I've heard and what people have said, obviously I gave my ticket to Gary as well. The atmosphere and the positivity around the ground was absolutely unreal on Saturday. So I think that nervousness has come away a little bit. However, if it's still 0-0 at half time, you know, then it's a different story because I do think Reading will be dangerous. I know they might not have a lot of the ball, but with the likes of Ajari and Swift, as we've touched on, they will get into danger. They're good. They're good players. So it all depends on how that pans out. But in terms of results-wise, I'm much like yourself, mate. I think it's going to be tight. I did say 2-0 a couple of weeks ago, but 1 or 2-0, there's not going to be much in it for me.
So, obviously, looking into the future, mate, because we're going to sort of do this for about, you know, probably another 10, 15 minutes if we can. So keep getting your questions in, guys. We've sort of touched on the Reading game there. We're going to go through a few of your questions, see what you guys think. Obviously, Kevin Echoes says, never say we have the easiest fixtures. Last season, we had the same, and we ended up not going up. I don't know about you, Joe. I'd probably disagree with that. I mean, I don't think we have the easiest fixtures. Obviously, that's the title of the video. But I think no game in the Championship is easy, just to cover that point. But I will say, you know, in our final run in sort of the final 6 to 8 games last year, you know, we did have the likes of Norwich, Sheffield United, Villa. Brentford were in there as well. I mean, it was a massively tough end to the season. And you look at it now, mate, 7 home games. We've got the majority of the bottom half to play. We've also got one team in the top 6 to play in Fulham at home, who I think, to be honest, mate, they've got Derby on Friday night. I can see them losing that as well. I mean, Fulham have got a horrible running, and I think, to be honest, mate, for this top 2 spot, I think the top 2 is wide open now. I think it's going to be between us, West Brom, and Brentford, because Brentford have also got a very nice running.
Yeah, I think on that subject, and I do want to address it, I think too much is made on comments like we should win this game. Look, Conor or me or whoever makes any sort of comments has no bearing whatsoever on any championship results. With us saying we have the easiest fixtures, on paper we do. And, you know, people might not like that, but ultimately we have the most of the bottom half teams to play. As I'd mentioned before, and as was mentioned on a championship podcast, we have the best record against teams in the bottom half. Yes, people will call out Wigan. People will call out Wednesday, for example, who are now down there. Or you know, there are you know, exceptions. Exceptions, of course, there are. But if you were to look at it on paper, you would have to say that Leeds do. And I do agree with you completely that last season it wasn't the same. Because if you remember when we had our fall off, it was in Easter. Easter's what? Back end of it. When it's Easter, I'm not a Christian, but it's it's the back end of March, right? April.
You don't have a chocolate eggs.
Yeah, I eat custard. What they call
you eat
Cadbury's cream eggs. Cadbury's cream eggs.
I eat custard.
Yeah, like that, by the bowlful. But I think, yeah, we had a fall off about Easter. We lost to Wigan. We then went to Brentford. Like you say, we had a lot tougher teams to play. The fact that we only have one of the top 7 to play is really, it's positive, and it's Fulham. And we owe them one a little bit, because I feel like we were scammed a little bit. I mean, that penalty decision down there, Bobby Cordova-Reid against, I mean, that was just absolutely insane, to be honest. So we owe them one for me. And look, we've got now. Sorry, I'm just reading comments as they come in. Bit of disagreeing. It is what it is. But yeah, we've got now, look, 3 arguably winnable games. You've got Reading, Borough. Borough's had a little bit of a upturning form. Woodgate's manager of the month. It's dropped off a cliff. And we've got Hull as well, who are a lot weaker team now without the likes of Bowen and Grzycki. But yeah, I mean, it's not naive to say that we have the easiest fixtures, because on paper we do. And I get football games out one on paper, all the cliches. But if you weren't a Leeds United fan, I think this is the key point. If you weren't a Leeds United fan, you take your Leeds United head off, you take the nervousness off it. If you just asked a random Premier League football fan, let's say, for example, they say, look at that league table, look at these teams vying for promotion, who's going to go? They'd probably say, well, Leeds have the easiest games because league table tells you that. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, mate. So, yeah, I mean, also there's a lot of people, you know, obviously take this, you know, Mal Reid comment on screen now. The bottom teams will be fighting for survival. And I think that's a very key point. You know, we have seen that potential turning point for Barnsley there, where they got that massive win. And I was to you, Joe, I was absolutely waxing lyrical about Barnsley. Just all of this is basically just showing that I just know absolutely sweet FA. You know, I do. Is that going? Are they going to start, you know, bouncing up? Obviously, Luton have had a bit of a turning form, 2-1 1-0 wins on the bounce, and yeah, I completely empathise with that. I think it is going to be. I think the bottom teams. You see that every season. You see it in the Premier League. The bottom teams.
Well, we seen it last year with Wigan, didn't we? I know, but Wigan were down there fighting for their lives, and we sort of kicked them on, and they went on a bit of a. Well, they saved Paul Cook, saved them from relegation. You know, I suppose there is some in that, because I do look at the fixtures now, and you've got Luton, you've got Stoke, you've got Barnsley and Charlton that all will be down there. You know, sandwiched in there. You've got Swansea away, Derby away. So maybe it's not. But I can only look at previous performances. Facts tell us we have the best record. But I get it, guys. I'm not coming out and saying it's all home and dry, because I'm not. We have 13 cup finals, though, 13 cup finals, 13 big games to go. Starting with Reading, let's get that over the line. And then we've got a midweek game away at Borough. So, yeah, if we can pick up maximum points at home, win the odd one away, we'll be all right, man. We'll be all right.
Yeah, and you hope as well this year. Obviously, we've seen that same dip with Leeds United that we sort of did have last year. It's pretty much replicated at this point. But didn't see from Leeds last season was that big upturn in performances. We've been a team for the past. Never mind Bielsa, mate. You look at Gary Monk, look at Thomas Christiansen. We've been a team that has always won the league or been there and thereabouts by sort of November, December. It'd be great if this season we were able to have a little bit of an upturn in form, wouldn't it? That'd be it's unheard of, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think one of the key things that always stuck with me was what Calvin said at the early parts of the season. He said, we learned from last season. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I think, we started out the blocks as per. People can't handle us. Middle of the season, people get wise to it. They start to adjust their style of play and try to contain us, which they have done. But I think the great thing is for me, and I've said it on my previous video, is it's sort of like, we're falling apart. We've done it. We've been there, done that now. We've fallen apart. You're right. Okay, you bang on. However, we now have got the opportunity to go again, whereas it happened too late last season at Easter. We couldn't turn it around. Whereas now, we've had that fall off, and the fact that we still managed to be in second is crazy. The fact that we now have a 3-point gap again is absolutely mental. And we have to thank our lucky stars that the Championship no one's been able to put a consistent enough run on to be able to bridge that gap during our absolute fall from grace. But now we go again, and since then, we've had a positive result away at Brentford. Should have won the game, and we battered Bristol City, the biggest 1-0 battering you'll see. And then we go again on Saturday, man. You've just got to remain positive, because it's all we have now, right? It's all we have. Back the boys. I think the backing they got on Saturday, by all accounts, Kiko, Paddy, and look, we got a clean sheet. Paddy played really well for me. I know he should have scored, but we just need to continue to back them. I think it happens in the ground anyway. I just think on social media it can be a little bit negative. But
I think you're right, Joe. I think there's been a lot made of sort of Leeds not getting the backing, but for me, every time I've been at the stadium, every time I've been at the ground, the Leeds fans are so supportive. There's no negativity there at all. It's a few anxious groans if things don't go right, but I think the whole backing the boys thing, I think we do massively back the boys. I just think, like you said, mate, the issue is it's when they get atted on social media and all this waffle. But let's have a look at some of the comments. Obviously, LUFC stats showing on Twitter that in a lot of areas we have improved. Chance conversion significantly worse, which I think we know, but a better position this year than last, which I didn't realise. I didn't know at this point last season we were in a better position.
Last season we were in a better position. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Oh, there we've got it. Michael Batts. Sorry, it's hard for me to read that one there. So we have improved chance conversion significantly worse, but better position than last year. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that. I think the mad thing is the amount of goals, isn't it? Because this time last season we had Roof, Click, Pablo, all in double figures. Do you know what I mean? So, it's quite an interesting one, mate, to be fair. It is.
And then, obviously, Tom Marshall coming in with this one here. Last year, we didn't have quality on the wings, which let us down, I would think. That's another really good point, because we can see the quality. We know Harrison's improved 10. I thought he was superb against Bristol City. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. And he has come up levels, and obviously Costa's better than Jack Clark. So we have leveled up. It is just a case of, you look at that chance against Millwall when Costa hit the bar. He's had a couple of opportunities where, that Dan Bentley save off the line, which was incredible. And I think it's just, he's been a bit unlucky at this moment in time. But I would also agree with people in saying now, I still think technically he's a wonderful player in Premier League class. But, I tell you what, Joe, I was watching a Championship highlights thing, and it was at Borough, and Bamford was at Borough, and Costa was at Wolves. He was just absolutely ripping ripping Ryan Shotton apart. And, you know, you just think there is a player in there. It's just, I just want to see that 10 out of 10 Helder Costa, because no one can live with him, mate. Like you know, we saw at the weekend, De Silva was on absolute toast. And we've seen it so many times, you know, against Millwall. Jake Cooper was on toast. And it's just the frustrating thing with Helder Costa and probably Jack Harrison at this moment in time. It is just that end product, isn't it?
Yeah. I think there is a lot to be said about Bielsa and the second season thing, because we've seen Jack Harrison. He has gone up a level, mate. You know, there was question marks over why we're bringing this kid back on loan at the start of the season by some, you know, sections of the fan base, because he started to deceive a little bit last season, let's be honest. However, he has stepped it up a notch. Costa, again, we'll probably see a 10 times better player next year. It's like with Poveda. You know, Poveda's probably not going to get much game time, but he'll be involved next season, you know. I think as well, one thing I will say, game last time out, I think their wing play against Bristol City was quality. And I think their balls into the box were positive and decent this time around. They were just a little bit unlucky. I think the one game where it did really frustrate me was Wigan, you know, where we just continued to do the same ball. And that's the one thing that lets Leeds United down, is when you have a team like Wigan that shut up shop and are very rigid and stay, you know, in the relevant positions and don't really waver from that. That's when we struggle to break it down, because we do the same thing over and over and over and over. However, when we're on a stuff and we have variation and we're able to get at teams like Bristol City, you know, we're just unlucky at times. I mean, Jack Harrison hits the crossbar, Dallas hits the crossbar, Bamford's is offside. You know, there's so many chances. Costa, when he cuts in and smashes it, you know, there was so many chances, and a little bit at times it's just luck. It feels like why won't this ball?
Yeah. Well, you look at like Costa. Mate, yeah, exactly. You look at the Harrison chance when he's on his left foot. What else can you do? Just smacks it. Yeah, exactly. It just smacks off the crossbar. And then obviously Costa, maybe he was a little bit sluggish, but, you know, you look at maybe chances, Joe, like when Harrison went through against Brentford, he's got to score. He's got to score. And then, as well, John, I'm not picking on Jack Harrison, but I do think if he had this in his locker, well, we all know, we've heard it on podcasts, we've seen it on articles, to be a Premier League player, but it was that, you know, that back heel against Wednesday, that's got to go in. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that, where I think if Costa and Harrison added this to the game, they'd be, well, they'd have the top clubs in England looking at them, wouldn't they?
And do you not think that's why the Championship players?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You do get some that buck the trend, the likes of Gale. Naki Wells could probably fall into that. You know, goal getters in this division. However, when they make the step up, they just don't quite cut it. And that's why they end up having to come back down to that division. And I think that's why some of these lads that we have, they're Championship players, you know. And maybe they'll. I mean, can you call Costa a Championship player? Maybe that's incorrect. I mean, he's played for the international side. Do you know what I mean? But you get what I'm trying to get at. I think that's why they haven't been picked up, is because they are inconsistent. They don't take all the opportunities they should. However, under the tutelage of Bielsa, I can guarantee you that Harrison will come on even more. And for the money that's been mentioned for him, we have to snap him up if we were to go up. I believe it's around about 8 million. You take him all day. Costa, we already are going to buy him, but he's someone who will just get better under Bielsa. I genuinely believe that. We've seen it, man. You can't take... Look at Stuart Dallas. Look at what he's transformed him into. Look at Liam Cooper. I mean, I know he's been getting a lot of stick of late, but that Costa chance, and I love Liam Cooper, so that's why I want to mention it, but that crossfield ball he played to Costa when he took it round Bentley was unreal.
Don't forget about Ben White's pass as well, mate.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And he's just took these players on another level. So I'm safe, I guess, knowing that, yes, they might not be cutting it all the time, but eventually they will hit that peak form. And when they do, wow. And the investment made by Leeds in these players, if they are to move on at any point, it's going to go up tenfold, you know? I think the way that they're running it at the moment, the likes of Otto, Bielsa, bringing in these players, it's only going to prove dividends for Leeds in the future as well, in my opinion.
Definitely, mate. I'll tell you what, we'll finish off with a couple more questions because Mr. Wainman needs to get himself to work. Let's have a look at some comments. Obviously, a lot of people talking about Patrick Bamford missing the easiest chances. Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about Bamford for a little bit, and then we'll finish off with a little bit on JKA. I think we all know the problems with Bamford. I think we all know that his finishing's not tip top. I think that's how it is. We got to live with that. But I think sometimes, I mean, I've said it as well. Sometimes it can be slightly unfair. And the reason behind that is, I think, you know, like we constantly say, Joe, he does miss gilt-edged chances. And for me, he scores tap-ins, but he doesn't score many from outside the box. Maybe different goals that you'd expect from a top striker at a top club. But I think he needs help, and he does need help. And to say our second top scorer, as we've mentioned so many times, Joe, is his own goal. You've got to look at even, you know, Costa and Harrison. What about Pablo? What about Click, who were in double figures last year? They need to step up as well, you know, and that's the difference, I think.
Yeah. I think on Patrick Bamford, the only time I've ever took umbrage was when he gives it this or gives it that. And that's in the past now, it's done. But, you know, you've touched on it there. He only scores, you know, tap-ins or whatever, and therefore does he have the right to be doing all this? But that's for another day. I will back Bamford because he's a Leeds United player. And what I will say, sometimes, like, I look at both West Brom games. I mean, the second half, West Brom, he came on and changed the game. We get a point out of it. I look at Bristol City. There's many more games where he hasn't scored, but his centre-forward play has been absolutely unreal. I thought he was class on Saturday, personally. The only thing that's missing is a goal. And I was speaking to this about my pal at work yesterday. He's a Sunderland fan, but we were just chatting about Bamford. And I said, if Bamford scored goals, he'd be worth a lot of money because his link-up play, his hold-up play is fantastic. It
definitely improved as well, hasn't he? His physicality.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, 100%. I mean, let's not forget that performance against Derby in the playoff semi-final second leg was absolutely atrocious, and I was done.
Yeah, I was ready to change him off the pitch.
Yeah, but, you know, his work rate cannot be underestimated. I get all that. But ultimately, you know, and I understand why, and I've said it before, he's going to be judged on goals at the end of his Leeds United career. But you are right. There isn't enough coming from individuals around him. I mean, look at Click. I mean, Click has a reluctance to have a go anymore. Now, whether or not there is a genuine call for that. Well, I don't even think that. Maybe it's been trained out of him, mate. You know,
well, I think that when you look at someone like Costa, I think Helder Costa for Wolves pulls the trigger a lot more than Helder Costa for Leeds does.
Yeah. There is a lot of that, mate. We've seen that against Bristol City where he would play it back to Bamford a few times and you just think, just have a fucking go. You've got to wander the left foot at times, just have a go. You know, I'd actually written it on my notes, but didn't go through it in my post-match. But there is that, you know, Click, picking it up on the edge of the box last season, bam, we know he can hit it. And is it, you know, Bielsa's saying, right, okay, yeah, that's good. However, there was a pass on there. So you're being greedy and therefore you need to pass it on for an easier goal because managers do go on like that. So maybe for everything Bielsa does, he wants the perfect goal, the tippy-tappy style of football, and I wouldn't change it because it's fucking unreal to see. But are there times where if the guys were just working off their own initiative, bam, yeah, they would have a go. However, they see out of the corner of the eye that Pablo's run ahead or Bamford's right, lay it on because they'll get an easier opportunity, you know?
I mean, Joe as well. Obviously, we're gonna have to finish, guys. We're gonna stop on this last topic, Joe, where we'll just surmise it a little bit. Listen, guys, if you've enjoyed this, I know me and Joe thoroughly have. We love the platform. If you want to see our previews and maybe some of our reviews, go on the StreamYard, slap a like on the video, just so we understand that you want to see that, because otherwise we have no idea. We have no clues. There's so many of you that watch the videos. And if you've joined late, guys, you can go back onto YouTube and watch the full near on 40 minutes again. But Joe, just before we end, mate, I just want to get your thoughts on Kiko Casilla. And obviously the ban looks like it might be impending. Apparently, Jonathan Lecco and Bon are sticking to their guns, and I believe Phil Hay or Graham Smith, has come up this morning and said that if they're sticking to the guns, it is likely that he will be found guilty. Quickly, what are your thoughts on it, mate?
I think it's quite damning for him as an individual. I go back to the Forestieri case where the FA have charged him, yet in a court of law he's found not guilty. I'm not saying I'm not on anyone's side, but I do think it is quite damning for someone when, the laws of probability, it's more looked at and said, right, okay, we've got two not, but I do believe Kiko's had an ex-goalkeeping coach come over. Eddie Nketiah is going to speak for him.
Roof,
Roof, players that aren't even here to a testament to his character, but all these people saying it won't be enough, because I think the FA will look at it and say, well, why would them two lie? So therefore he's guilty, because they wouldn't lie. But it is quite damning for him. And look, if he is guilty, then 100% he shouldn't even be playing for the football club. Let's be honest, But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a really tough topic to speak about as well, I think, because, I don't know, mate. What about you?
I mean, to be honest, Joe, this might be quite damning, but if he's guilty of racism, and this is no reflection on, I think Kiko, obviously, me and you have different opinions on Kiko, but I don't rate him on the football pitch. But this is different, mate. This is I can't show differences, because I said that when Forestieri came out and obviously the racism charges were leveled at him. I couldn't believe Wednesday didn't sack him. Now, some people might think that's too harsh, but if you are guilty of racism, if me or you were guilty of racism, Joe, we wouldn't be employed. Go on.
No, I do agree with you. Listen, if you're a racist, Kiko, see you later. Contract wrapped up, go. But you can't. If he's charged, you can't. I don't think it's fair to level at him, because it's not like. Look at the Forestieri case. He's found not guilty, but then told by the FA he's guilty. It's a strange process that they need to follow, and I think it's quite damning for him as an individual that the FA, I guess, we're already saying, well, they're going to find him guilty anyway, because why would? Do you know what I mean? But then again, why would the others two lie? To be honest, it's a bit of a minefield, mate. But if he is guilty, then yeah, of course, he shouldn't be at the football club.
And if that is the case, Joe, obviously we move past that. The sort of damning case of racism. We look at Leeds United replacements. Then you look at someone like Meslier coming in, maybe Capriel as a number 2. Would you be confident? Would you be confident with that?
Yeah, look, we've only seen 45 minutes of football under Meslier, but by all accounts, he's getting glowing receptions from everyone. People that watch the under-23s, he's kicking of the ball's unreal. So I think we're in safe hands there. I think that the fact that the club haven't gone out in January as well and gone after another keeper, which was mentioned, in the early parts of January, they've seen enough from Meslier. So if Bielsa and the team have seen enough from him, then yeah, 100% he has my backing.
Yeah, brilliant. Me too, mate. Right, guys, that's going to be it for me and Joe. As I said, if you really enjoyed what we've done here, it's been a little bit different. Obviously, trying to up the content and just different ways we can provide content for you guys. Please slap a like. There's a lot of you. Me and Joe know this as well. We've been saying there's a lot of you who aren't subscribed. If you are watching this and you aren't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because you'll be treated to a lot more of this content. And yeah, we'll be back for our post matches. We might do something at the ground if we meet up as well on Saturday. Yeah. Joe, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you very much, mate. I've enjoyed it. And like I say, as Conor said, just echo what he said. Please subscribe, please like, share, all that jazz. Make sure you smash a like on this if you do like it. Because like I say, there's nothing stopping us doing pre, post, but also doing a joint one. Get Oscar in, get Tasha in, the lot. So let us know your thoughts. And thank you for watching.
Yeah, guys, you have a great day, and we'll see you in a bit.